You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So we've got the Matrox MX02 Mini, and it has a special host port on it. You need to plug in the B side of the cable to that. You'll notice that there's actually an A and a B on the same cable. So the point is the B side faces up. So you can see it from the top. On the other end, which connects to the back of the computer, I'll turn it around so we can see it. There's another port that looks just like it on the bottom. And needs to be the A side up. Okay? So it goes A to B. If you don't plug it in this way, then you will not get any signal between the box and the computer. And so none of this video and audio will pass through the way it's supposed to. Alright, so one thing you'll notice is that on this box you have HDMI in if you have an HDMI camera. You have HDMI out, which you can feed to a high-def monitor, like a television. And then you have composite component and YC with audio up here. So you'll notice there's only 3 ports on the in and the out. These ports are multifunction. This green port can either be composite, or it can be the Y port of the component, which would be all 3 cables together. And then if you're using the first port for composite, then the second 2 ports become YC. Okay? And then the last 2 ports on each column, or each row rather, are the audio left and right. And so everything's kind of labeled there. Y, PB, PR, left and right. And then in on top, out on the bottom. Okay? You do have to feed the box power. So there's a special power supply that comes with it as well. So we'll just plug that into the wall. Plug it into the front of the box. And then initially, we're not going to get any lights inside. But as soon as we turn on the computer and it receives a signal from the host cable, then a red light will come on inside here. Okay? If it's any color other than red, the box is not working right. Okay? It should always be a red light. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and hook up everything to the back. So we just have mouse, keyboard. Oops, actually let's use these ports here. These blue ports and these yellow ports are all special. Okay? Those are both USB 3. But the black ports are the standard USB 2, which is what I'm going to use for the mouse and keyboard. I'm basically going to keep the faster ports open for other devices. Like if you have USB 3 hard drives, they can plug in there. They'll be much faster than USB 2. Basically this motherboard is a new advanced design that gives you all the latest features, latest I/O. Network just plugs into the network port. Video plugs into the graphics card here. There's 4 ports on this graphics card. There's 2 DVI ports, one of which I have covered up, and then there are 2 HDMI ports, which are also covered up. So if you pull these little plugs out, you'll see it has HDMI right there. But just leave the port covers in unless you're going to use them. These are basically this and this is the same port, and then this and this is the same port. So you can't use all 4 at the same time. You have to choose which combination you're going to use. But basically, for each output, you can either use DVI or HDMI. They both work. Now, if you use HDMI, you'll also get audio coming out. So audio and video will both come out of the same port. In this case, I'm just going to use DVI, and I'm going to adapt that to VGA. So if I'm coming analog out to VGA, I have to use the DVI port. And then power. And that's basically it. Okay? So we're ready to go ahead and turn on the machine. And as soon as it boots up, you'll see there's a red light on inside the Matrox. If you don't get that, then that definitely means you have a bad connection between the host connection. These 2 cables right here, notice they're red and blue. They actually would connect to the back of this box here if you're going to use a YC 4-pin. Okay? So like I said before, this would be composite, and then these 2 together are YC. Okay? But if you're using component, then you leave the adapter off and you use all 3 for 1 signal going in or out. So like component would be like Betacam, composite would be 3/4 inch, and then YC would be like SVHS. So those are all the different types of signals that you might use. So once it boots up, this is just a Windows 7 desktop. I've currently configured it for 1920 by 1080 display, so it's a full high def image. Did you guys get a monitor with this? I think you did. Yeah. So your monitors will be the same resolution as these. Okay. Down at the bottom, I already have all of your main applications installed. So you have Audition, Photoshop, Encore, Adobe After Effects, and Premiere. They're all down here. Okay. If you do install other programs, they'll show up in the Start menu like normal under all programs. So anything that you put in will show up here. And you can make links to the bottom toolbar down here for anything that you need. But for the most part, if you're using this machine for editing, this is what you're going to use. So I'm going to go into Premiere. Premiere is the main interface for using the Matrox MX02. It's the only thing that will actually see video and audio in and out. This is unplugged. Is that good?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Alright, so when Premiere comes up, it's going to ask you to either open an existing project or create a new project. Okay? So under your recent projects over here on the left, you can click on a project and it will just open it right up from wherever you saved it before. If you go to Open Project, it'll let you browse and find projects that are not listed here. And then under New Project, you can create a brand new project from scratch. Okay? So if you hit New Project, it's going to ask you, what type of video in and out you're going to use. So right now it's set to Mercury, which is good. Let's see, we want to put the project on the D drive. So let's go back here to the desktop, and then we'll go to Computer, and we'll go to D, and we'll select that and save it there. Okay, so we're saving onto the D drive, and we'll go ahead and just call this one Demonstration. Okay. Alright, so now it wants to know what type of input-output signal we're going to use. So we need to make sure we choose the Matrox 1080i if you're doing high def. If you want to do standard def, then we need to create additional presets for that. Okay? So, do you know what type of format you're going to be editing in right now?
I don't know.
Okay. Whoever is planning to edit might need to call me, and I can guide them through how to set this up. Okay. Or I can install TeamViewer on the machine, and I can take control of the machine remotely. If you have the system connected to the internet, then I can actually log into it, and I can actually walk through things and set things up for them there at the church.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
But right now I've created one preset for Matrox 1080i, and you can see right here it's going to use the Matrox codec. It's 30 frames per second, 1920 by 1080. Let's see, all of that's standard. It's using standard audio, 48 kilohertz. So let's go ahead and create that. And what it's going to do is it'll go ahead and create a default sequence using those settings. Okay. All right. So if we had any video to import, we could just drag it onto the timeline here and just pull it in. Actually, I don't think there's any content on here whatsoever. Let me see if I can import something real quick.
Okay.
I might have something I can grab from my network drive. It's not going to let me do that. All right, go ahead and pause the recording for a second. I'm going to grab another.